There are over 1 billion cows alive on Earth. We eat them every day without thinking much about it. Humans eat pigs, chickens, goats, sheep, fish, deer, rabbits, crabs, snails, and even insects in many places. We are one of the most flexible eaters on the planet. Now ask yourself this: when was the last time you saw elephant on a menu? Almost never. And that is strange at first, because an elephant is the biggest pile of meat walking on land. One adult elephant weighs thousands of pounds. In theory, one animal could feed many people for a long time. So why did humans eat so many other animals, but almost never turn elephants into ordinary food? A cow and an elephant are both made of muscle, fat, bone, and organs. Both are edible in a basic biological sense. So why did one become dinner around the world, while the other became something we almost never touch? The answer is not one thing. It is biology. It is math. It is danger. It is intelligence. And it is culture. All of them point in the same direction. Elephants are not good food animals for humans. At least, not in the way cows, pigs, goats, or chickens are. Let's start with the simplest reason. The math is terrible. If you want to farm an animal for food, it has to make sense. It needs to grow reasonably fast. It needs to reproduce often enough. It needs to be manageable. It needs to turn food into meat efficiently. A cow can reach slaughter weight in a relatively short time compared with an elephant. Chickens are even faster. Pigs grow quickly. Goats and sheep can live in many environments and reproduce at useful rates. These animals fit human farming. Elephants do not. An adult elephant needs an enormous amount of food every single day. It eats grasses, leaves, bark, fruit, branches, and whatever vegetation it can process. It may spend most of the day feeding. It also needs huge amounts of water. Now imagine trying to farm that. You are not feeding a cow. You are feeding a living bulldozer with a stomach. And it gets worse. Elephants reproduce slowly. A female elephant has one of the longest pregnancies of any land animal. A calf takes almost 2 years before it is even born. Then the young elephant grows slowly. It takes years before it becomes large. It takes even longer before it is fully mature. So as a food investment, an elephant is a disaster. You feed it for years. You give it space. You give it water. You protect it. You wait and wait and wait. Meanwhile, chickens, pigs, goats, sheep, and cattle are producing food much faster. For most human societies, this was not a difficult choice. If you are trying to survive, you do not build your diet around the slowest, most expensive animal in the landscape. You choose animals that give you reliable returns. A cow can feed you in a practical system. An elephant asks for years of resources before giving anything back. That alone explains a lot. But cost is not the only reason. There is also the problem of control. Domestication is not just about whether an animal has meat on its body. Many animals are edible. Very few are good candidates for farming. To domesticate an animal, humans need to manage it safely. It should reproduce in captivity. It should tolerate people. It should not panic constantly. It should have a social structure humans can work with. It should not destroy everything around it. Elephants are intelligent and trainable, but they are not domesticated in the same way cattle or dogs are. Humans have captured and trained elephants for work, war, transport, ceremony, and logging in some regions. But training individual elephants is different from domesticating a species over many generations. A truly domesticated animal has been selectively bred to live with humans. Cows, sheep, goats, pigs, chickens, and dogs have been changed by that long relationship. Elephants mostly were not. They are powerful wild animals that can cooperate with humans under certain conditions, but they are not easy farm animals. And if something goes wrong, the danger is extreme. An angry elephant is one of the most dangerous animals on land. It can weigh several tons. It can run faster than a human. It can flip vehicles, break trees, crush fences, and kill with terrifying speed. Now imagine early humans trying to hunt one with spears, bows, pits, fire, or traps. Yes, humans did hunt large animals. Ancient humans hunted mammoths and other megafauna. Some communities have hunted elephants for meat at different times in history. But hunting an elephant is not like catching a rabbit or even hunting a deer. It is a high-risk event. One mistake could kill the hunter. A wounded elephant could charge. The group could lose experienced people. And if the hunt failed, they could lose energy, weapons, and lives without getting food. For a small human group, that is a brutal gamble. There were often easier animals available: deer, antelope, wild pigs, fish, birds, small mammals. Animals that required less risk and less effort. Early humans were not being sentimental every time they avoided elephants. They were being practical. Why risk death for one huge animal when smaller, safer, more reliable food sources exist? That does not mean elephants were never eaten. They were. In certain regions and certain times, elephant meat has been consumed. During hardship, war, famine, or traditional hunts, humans have used elephant meat as food. Ancient humans also hunted mammoths and other elephant relatives. But notice the pattern. Elephant meat was usually not the foundation of everyday diet. It was not easy to farm. It was not cheap to raise. It was not safe to hunt. It was not convenient to store without preservation. A massive carcass is useful only if you can process, share, dry, smoke, cook, or preserve it before it spoils. For many societies, elephant was not normal food. It was exceptional food, and exceptions prove the rule. Then comes the reason that feels deeper. Elephants are intelligent, not just smart for an animal. They are socially complex, emotional, and observant. Elephants live in family groups. They form bonds. They recognize individuals. They remember places. They communicate. They cooperate. They show behaviors that look like mourning around the dead. They have long memories and deep social lives. Humans notice this. When an animal behaves in ways that feel emotionally familiar, it becomes harder for many cultures to see it as simple meat. This does not apply equally everywhere. Human food taboos are complicated. Different cultures draw lines in different places. Some animals are sacred in one place and food in another. Some are pets in one culture and livestock in another. But elephants often crossed into a special category. They were not just large animals. They seemed aware. They seemed wise. They seemed almost person-like. And that changes how people treat them. It is one thing to eat an animal that humans view as ordinary livestock. It is another thing to eat an animal associated with memory, grief, family, and intelligence. That emotional barrier matters. Food is never just biology. Food is meaning. This is why some animals stay off the plate even when they are edible. Humans do not only ask, "Can we eat this?" We ask, often without saying it, "What does this animal mean to us?" And elephants came to mean a lot. In many Asian cultures, elephants became symbols of royalty, strength, wisdom, and sacred power. They were used in ceremonies, warfare, labor, and processions. They were associated with temples, kings, and gods. In Hindu tradition, Ganesha, one of the most beloved deities, has an elephant head. In other cultures, elephants became symbols of memory, dignity, patience, and family. Even people who have never lived near wild elephants often think of them as special. You do not easily turn a sacred symbol into a sandwich. Once an animal becomes part of religion, identity, storytelling, and respect, eating it can feel wrong. Not because the meat is impossible, because the meaning is too heavy. So the elephant stayed mostly outside the human food system. Too expensive to farm, too slow to reproduce, too dangerous to hunt, too intelligent to treat casually, too culturally powerful to reduce to meat. Each reason matters, but together they build a wall. And behind that wall, elephants became something different. Not livestock, not ordinary game, not dinner. They became workers, warriors, symbols, companions in human stories, and eventually icons of conservation. Today, there is also a modern reason we do not eat elephants. Many elephant populations are threatened by habitat loss, conflict with humans, and illegal ivory trade. In many places, elephants are protected by law. Hunting, selling, or eating them is restricted or illegal. So in the modern world, the answer is even clearer. Elephants are not menu items. They are wildlife that needs protection. But the older answer came long before modern conservation. Humans had already learned that elephants were different, not because they were impossible to kill. Humans have killed much larger animals than themselves, not because they were impossible to eat. Many animals can be eaten, but because elephants failed almost every test for becoming common food. They were too costly, too slow, too risky, too meaningful. Cows became food because they fit the system. Elephants did not. That is the hidden rule behind many human diets. We do not eat animals only because they have meat. We eat animals when the full relationship makes sense. Can we raise them? Can we control them? Can they reproduce fast enough? Can we afford to feed them? Can we kill them safely? Can we accept eating them emotionally and culturally? For cows, pigs, chickens, goats, and sheep, many societies answered yes. For elephants, most societies answered no. Not always loudly, not always officially, but through thousands of small choices across generations. And that is why the largest land animal on Earth never became a normal meal. The elephant was too much animal for the plate, too big in body, too costly in resources, too dangerous in anger, too intelligent in behavior, too powerful in meaning. So the next time you see an elephant, remember this. Humans did not ignore it because they failed to notice the meat. They ignored it because they noticed everything else. The elephant was never just food, and that is why it was almost never on the menu.